What's going on, people? So, got another pair of shoes here, as you can tell, obviously, right? So, this particular pair I got from, what was it? Sneakers and Stuff. That's where these came from. I picked up a few things recently and trying to keep it all straight as far as what came from where. Gets a little difficult after a while. Maybe some of you guys can relate to that. Let me know if you can. Let me know if you can. Either way, I picked these up from Sneakers and Stuff for whatever amount of money they asked me to pay for them. Now, some of you guys probably know a little bit about this, and if you know a little bit about these, you probably know more than I do. But here's the thing, right? When it comes to stuff like this, I buy things based on how they look. That's pretty much all that it takes to sell something for me. But if there's some other stuff involved, as is the case here, I just make sure it's nothing that I'm against, right? So like I said, I returned those Drake shoes because Drake reasons. But these, I was like, all right, I know 424 is some kind of fashion brand, whatever. So I'm like, okay, I'm indifferent to that. Then you got the Arsenal, which is soccer related, right? And I'm cool with that. I think soccer is one of the more respectable sports, in my personal opinion. I mean, obviously, it's not going to be professional wrestling because it's not. But as far as the other sports go, it's up there. It might be the number one, at least in my personal opinion, as far as the athletes. Now, if this said NFL, these would very much still be on a shelf because no. But anyways, I picked these up because I saw the coloring and all that stuff, and I was thinking, those look pretty all right, and soccer's pretty cool. Let's see how this goes. And I don't remember, I think I won a raffle for these. I think that's what it was. And then several dollars later, here they are. But you probably don't care to hear too much about the backstory, which is fine because it's over. So we're just going to go ahead and talk about this here shoe. And this, in case you haven't paid attention enough or just don't know, this right here is the Adidas Ultraboost 21 424 AFC, right? So there's that for you. Now, we're going to start this thing with the bottom. Across the bottom, this is pretty much your standard outsole that you may have seen before on an Ultraboost 21. So one thing I do like is that they kind of can mess around with the colors a little bit to give it a nice little look. And with all that black and red down there, I think it came out pretty nice. What do you guys think? But anyways, past that, we're not going to get too deep into that piece of it. We're going to move on up here to this here midsole. What you're going to see up here, huge chunky boost going on here. I mean, especially when you take from when you look at the back angle here, there's a lot of boost going on in there. I forget what the percentage difference is. Just know that it's a lot more than it had been in the past, right? And it feels really good, but we'll touch on that more later. So past that, past the midsole and the outsole and stuff, the upper, right? What's the upper all about? Well, I'll tell you, it's pretty much just your standard stuff that you're used to if you've had an Ultraboost in the past. Slightly different patterning and all that stuff. Pattern? Whatever. Slightly different look. We'll go with that. But overall, you're going to get the same experience, right? Because it's got that whole prime knit thing going on. There is a little bit of like the recycled material in there, so it's not going to feel exactly the same. But as far as the looks go, right, down here around the toe box, you can tell it's a little bit stiffer right around the edges, right, which is a good thing. But then once you get to like above the toe box, that's where it gets back to what you would normally expect and everything. But then as you look at the rest of the shoe, it's pretty much all that, right? I say all that as in all this, not like all that like a reference to that show from Nickelodeon. But moving on past that, you see it's pretty much the same look that you're going to expect, right, from the front of the shoe all the way through to the back. But here in this middle area, they do have a very nice cage on here. So if you look in closely, right, that's where pictures come in, you're going to see that there's kind of like a little bit of a design. I'm not sure how to describe it, but on the cage, behind the stripes and everything, you do have some lines deep in there. It's somewhat clearish. And if you look at the stripes themselves, I'm not sure if that's just clear or what, or if they finished the design, but when you look at that, you can kind of see that whole line thing they have going on. And that's on both sides as well, so pretty cool. On the one side of mine, it is just a little scuffed up or something in there. I don't know if I can deal with that or not. If I can't, it doesn't matter because it's on the inside, so whatever. But anyways, moving on past that, right, onto the back end. So around the heel cup on the outside, you do have Ultraboost. So there's that for you, a little bit of labeling. And then there's a little bit of labeling on the inside, and that says Prime Knit. Now, getting in here a little bit closer, though, to where these heel cups are, you can tell it's got this nice glossy effect going on. I'm not sure exactly what material that is. If I figure it out between now and then, I'll throw some words across the screen or something like that. But I really like the way this came out. I did the unboxing originally on the DJ Dell's channel because that's a thing that I do sometimes. And we were kind of talking about it on there, trying to get it all figured out. Go check him out if you haven't done that before. I mean, I'd imagine if you follow YouTube things, you probably know who he is, right? But anyways, moving on past that, as far as the visual, there's not a whole lot really to say because it's pretty much just an all black shoe. The biggest differences between these and your standards being the way the cages are and the way the heel cup type thing is. But let's move it around to the front real quick and close things out. So at the top of the tongue area here, you do have that 424 logo, and that's going to be the same on both, right? So you got that going on there. And past that, it's all just black with black laces, right, in that front area. So not a whole lot to say. Moving on to the inside, though, there's a little bit of a design going on in there. Take this paper out. So in there, what you're looking at is pretty much the same thing that you saw on the top of the box, which I did not really show you. But anyways, you got the Adidas logo, you got the 424, and then you got that Arsenal shield thing going on. And the insole kind of has a bit of a design too. I'll have to pull the insoles out to kind of show you what I'm talking about, so that way I don't have to try to describe it. But anyways, that kind of sums up the whole shoe though, as far as the looks and everything goes. So I don't really have too much else to say about it. So I suppose now we can just move ahead and just finish up the next half of this video, which is about the sizing, comfort, all that good stuff, right? So I bought these in my standard Ultraboost, standard Nike, standard everything size, true to size, which that is 9.5. That's what I do, right? So bought these 9.5. And you know what? They fit exactly like I'd expect them to. I kind of knew that going into it because I have a few pairs of these already. But for those of you who didn't know or were curious, there's your answer. Now past that though, as far as how they feel, once you get these in hand or whatever, on feet, whatever you want to look at it as, they're gonna feel pretty nice, right? So they've made some adjustments with this particular model. They've redone the torsion system, and I forget what they have now, but it's very much different. It's supposed to give you more fluid movement when you're running. If you're not running, if you're just buying these for casual use, don't worry about that. For those of you that are gonna be running in these, know that they'll be better. Past that, the extra boost in there is still super comfortable, right? It gives you a different sort of feel, but it feels better. Not that there was anything wrong with the previous ones, they've just somehow tweaked it and taken it up a notch. As far as the upper goes, this thing really just hugs your foot in all the right ways, right? It's not tight, like, restrictive or anything. It feels secure though, so it's kind of hard to explain, but just know that if you get these on your feet and you start walking around and whatever, you're gonna feel really good about it. And I would say that personally, I'd rank these above mostly everything. I can't think of anything that I would put above them right now, but to be fair, I have not done a full-on performance test or anything like that. I've mostly just worn them around here. So I'll come back to that on another date, but just know that these get some pretty high ranks for me. If that means anything to you, I don't know. But past that, I feel like I may have covered everything there is to talk about this particular shoe. Probably more than most of you need, because you're probably going to get it for what it is, not necessarily for the Ultraboost side of it, because maybe you also like Arsenal or 424, or just black and red, which is a popular color combination. But anyways, we're good here. We're going to wrap this up. I got 2 more reviews to do. I can't sit here and talk about these all day. Have a nice rest of your day, or rest of your night, whatever it is, wherever you are. I'm gonna go ahead and do those other things, like I said, and we'll meet again at some other point, maybe. Later, people.